say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power.
And a neck as wide as Broadway, for crying out loud.
Right.
The thing that I don't like about Canelo is that it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yes.
They both hit hard. Because and you can see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go up and fight Canelo?
Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith discussed the potential fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Stephen A. sees Crawford winning by decision, but advises caution. He mentions Gervonta Davis's point that Crawford could face danger if he gets too involved in trading punches. Given Canelo's natural size and strength advantage, Stephen A. thinks Crawford needs to focus on defense, quick movement, and smart tactics instead of going toe-to-toe. Both analysts agree that in this matchup, strategy will matter more than raw power.
Greatness. And a neck as wide as Broadway, for crying out loud.
Right.
The thing that I don't like about Canelo is that it's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yes.
And that's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble, and I'm not sure it was him, but I think it was him. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight.
Max Kellerman points out that Terence Crawford seems to have sharper overall skills, which gives him a technical advantage. He also brings up Canelo Alvarez's strong chin and naturally bigger body structure that helps him in physical exchanges. However, Canelo has not looked as sharp or dominant in his recent fights, showing a slight drop in performance. This sets up the fight as a clash between Crawford's timing and technique versus Canelo's toughness and physical strength.
Great chin. A great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guay.
Yeah. So you briefly mentioned Canelo's power. So who, I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov.
Antonio Tarver, who is a well-known boxing analyst and former champion, has shown support for Terence Crawford, while also admitting how big of a challenge this fight really is. He says Crawford has shown his skills across multiple weight classes, but this matchup is on a completely different level. Tarver believes this is not just Crawford's toughest fight, but also a kind of challenge that Canelo Alvarez has never really dealt with before.
Take, I'm Bud County all the way, but this is going to be the toughest fight, the best fighter Bud has ever been in the ring with. And arguably, this could be the best fighter Canelo has ever been in the ring with. We'll find out which one is which on September 13th.
Antonio, I appreciate your time. Safe travels back home.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio.
Timothy Bradley Jr., who is known for his strong boxing IQ, thinks the first round between Canelo and Crawford will be careful and cautious. He expects both fighters to avoid taking big risks early and instead use the round to study each other's movement, timing, and possible openings. Bradley says Crawford is very patient at the start of big fights because he likes to understand his opponent's style before setting traps. Canelo has also been known to use the early rounds to judge distance and make adjustments as the fight goes on. Bradley believes this smart and careful approach means the first round will not be explosive, but more like a quiet strategic battle.
Versa, Crawford wants to feel his punching power as well. You know, in the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm, you know, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. You know, it takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although I would say he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher. You know, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. You know, and the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. You know, he usually takes off, just feels the power, you know, cruises, you know, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, you know, just gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's going to be a real, like, calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure, man. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? And let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, you know, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next.
Amir Khan, who has fought both Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, offers a unique point of view on this fight. He says Crawford has already proven himself as one of the greats in his natural weight classes, especially at welterweight, but warns that weight divisions exist for a reason, and moving up to face naturally bigger opponents is always risky. Khan thinks Crawford did not need to take on this kind of pressure since his legacy is already secure. Even so, he respects the ambition behind Crawford's choice, seeing it as a bold move to shut down critics and try something only a few boxers in history have managed to do: push past the limits of weight classes. Still, Khan makes it clear that while Crawford is a top-level fighter, going up against someone as strong as Canelo is a serious risk. It could either take his reputation to another level or seriously damage his career.
And we did all the build-up. They were nothing but respectful. Yeah. I just feel that, you know, in boxing, weight divisions are made there they make them for a purpose, and I highly respect and say pound for pound the best fighter is Crawford by far, and beats anyone. But when you start putting weight on and you go up a weight and you fight these guys like Canelo, even though Canelo might be now getting a little bit older and it might be slowing down a little bit, but he's still going to be very dangerous. That punch power, you're still going to get tagged, you're still going to get hit. You're going to have to spar heavier guys to get ready for that anyway, so you're going to be taking a lot of wear and tear anyway. You're going to have to put adding a few pounds on. Does he need to put that pressure on himself? He's done what no one's ever done before. 2-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy? But obviously you want to go for that next challenge. Now for him, he wants to go for like Canelo. I would advise him not to go for that. But if he's the man and he knows how good he is himself. So I can't really say to him that do this or do that. So really,
he believes in his skills. He feels
he believes in his skill. Yeah. We can't answer for him. Yeah. We let him go and do it. You know what I'm saying? And we all might be wrong. Yeah. He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well. Yeah. That he might do really well in there. So look, regardless,
you fought them both. Like what are the differences between them? Obviously, it's weight.
Canelo's strong and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Yeah. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean. Yeah. So really, that's the difference. And they both hit hard. Yeah. Because and you could see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah. But why does he need to give that much weight? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go up and fight Canelo?
Promoter Tom Lafleur looks at the fight from a business and entertainment angle. He says Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford are two of the biggest stars in boxing, with huge fan followings that cross different countries and groups. Lafleur says not many modern fights can match this one in terms of size and importance. It is more than just a contest of boxing skills. It is a meeting of two powerful forces. Canelo represents an established era as the face of boxing, while Crawford has risen to the top as a pound-for-pound champion. Lafleur thinks all the excitement around the fight makes sense because it is rare to see two fighters at this level agree to face each other, especially when there are big weight gaps and legacy on the line.
High-profile show, it's huge. It doesn't get any bigger than that, and you know, you got to give credit to both guys. They're both very confident. They both have very passionate fan bases. You know, Callum, you know, having fought in Dublin, packed the arena out there, the 3 Arena, having fought at Madison Square Garden 3 times, fought in Boston, and then Fernando Jr., you know, from one of the biggest boxing named families, you know, in the history of boxing. He's going to bring out a huge fan base. So it's a really exciting addition to, you know, such a big show that like I said, doesn't get any bigger than that for sure.
I agree. I think that you, along with me, have seen some of these criticisms of the undercard. But really, when you look at it, I mean, we both know Callum Walsh so well. The personality and the authenticity that he brings to this sport is just so sincere. He's so real. You know, being from Ireland, coming overseas to train and dedicate his life to this craft, and his personality is so magnetic that it obviously brought someone like Dana White to be a huge supporter of him.
Trainer Dave Coldwell talks about Crawford's unique fighting style, pointing out how smoothly he switches stances and uses his footwork to control the distance. Coldwell says Crawford's movement is one of his most overlooked strengths because it helps him create angles, frustrate his opponents, and control the pace of the fight against someone like Canelo, who applies constant pressure. Coldwell thinks these skills could make the difference. He says if Crawford can keep moving and stay off the ropes, he has what it takes to stay ahead of Canelo and score points.
From when the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch, he's very good as a southpaw. His judgment at distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet have never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement of feet. His feet aren't the fastest. And he loads up. And he don't really like boxing at a pace. So I kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he can manage moments, tough moments. When Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's going to know about it because Crawford's been hurt before. And Crawford gets hit. He does get hit. That's why he's exciting. But he does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on him. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb and Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off at an angle, to get that distance.
Jeff Mayweather talks about the importance of weight and natural size, saying it is one of the biggest factors in this fight. He points out that Canelo has been strong and successful at super middleweight, which fits his body naturally, but Terence Crawford is moving up to a weight that is not really his usual class, and that brings up concerns about how the extra weight could impact his speed, stamina, and ability to take punches. Mayweather says Canelo has the edge here because he is already used to this weight and will not have to change much about his body.
Big factor, and I mean, this is a weight class that Canelo is already, owned. He owns his weight class. And so, I mean, and he even went up higher So, I mean, he's already proven what he can do and what he can take at those other weight classes. So, I mean, I don't know, but if anyone can do it, it probably would be Terence Crawford. I mean, this guy seems like he's amazing. I mean, he's, I'm a big fan of Terence Crawford, but I'm a big fan of Canelo as well. So I mean, it's one of those situations where somebody has to lose. So I don't know who's gonna lose, but I think that it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a great fight.
A Ring magazine analyst shares thoughts on Canelo's recent fights, saying that although Alvarez has kept training hard and preparing well, one clear weakness has shown up in his last few matches. Canelo has had trouble cutting off the ring effectively. This has let some fighters move freely and avoid his powerful punches against someone like Crawford, who relies on movement and angles. This weakness could be a big problem. The analyst thinks Canelo needs to regain his skill at trapping opponents and cutting off their ways to escape.
I should have any position to critique and criticize Canelo, but one of the things that he's gotten in trouble with in the last couple of fights, not being able to cut off the ring. You go to the William Skull fight and you watched him chase William Skull around and around and around that ring. And yes, William Skull was running from him. That was pretty clear to see. He was on his bike utilizing his jab, but you didn't see Canelo cut him off. You didn't see him move laterally to be able to stop a lot of that running or stop a lot of that circling around the ropes, which is his responsibility if he's going to take the front foot and look to establish himself offensively. And when I watch Canelo here, he's gotten away with this pretty much his entire career, but I watch him cross-step a lot. And you see it right there, where he goes from circling, he rolls under the right hand, and instead of moving laterally, replacing his back foot with his front foot, he L-steps and then crosses over, which instead of just moving laterally and shifting, like I said, shuffling to his right off of the L-step, off of the reset, which would allow him to be ready to go and ready to fight again, it takes him that extra beat to get back into fight stand.
Former champion David Haye offers a different view. At first, he thought Canelo's size and power would be too much for Crawford, making it almost impossible for the smaller fighter to win. But after watching Crawford's training and seeing his hard work and technical skill, Haye says he changed his mind. He admits he was unsure at first, but now believes Crawford has a real shot at winning.
When that's beating Canelo, I've been a fan of his for a long time, and likewise with Crawford, I never thought there was a version of reality where they'd both be in the ring with each other. I initially automatically assumed, because Canelo's obviously beaten, he was the light heavyweight champion of the world, undisputed super middleweight champion of the world. He's just campaigned at a much bigger weight, so a good big and beats a good little one, usually. Until I saw them standing next to each other and they looked the same size. I couldn't quite figure it out. I was like, okay, if they're the same size, then it's literally pound for pound. Who's pound for pound better? And that's it. They're both pound for pound fighters. A lot of people have got them 1 and 2. And I favoured Canelo starting off, but over time, I'm starting to think once again Crawford is one of those guys where he reminds me of kind of Andre Ward a little bit, their mindset, and he wouldn't put himself in a position if he didn't know for sure he had enough firepower to deal with someone of Canelo's stature and Canelo's history. But it's the two best fighters on the planet mixing it up. It's one of those dream fights. It's a proper trades fight. That anyone who's interested in boxing and want to see two living legends going at it. Yeah, I can't believe it's actually happening. That makes sense, because they're so big in their own right. The fact that fight would never have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It just wouldn't have happened. And now anything's possible in boxing. Anything's possible.
Jeff Horn, a former world champion, warns Canelo Alvarez that size and strength alone do not guarantee a win. Horn believes Crawford's top-level defense will help him reduce damage and cancel out Canelo's power. Horn says Crawford has a special ability to predict punches, absorb shots, and avoid getting hit cleanly, meaning Canelo's natural size advantage might not matter if he cannot land solid punches. Horn thinks Crawford's defensive focus could decide the fight, letting him frustrate Canelo. Limit exchanges and counter accurately. Finally, a veteran fighter who has watched Crawford closely over the years shares his strong opinion after studying Crawford's growth, training, and fights. He says he cannot bet against him, praising Crawford's mental toughness, consistency, and ability to To perform under pressure, these qualities set him apart. Even against tough challenges, this fighter believes Crawford has already shown he belongs with the sport's best. And this fight with Canelo is another chance to prove his greatness.
Me analyzing and watching Crawford over all these years, I just cannot bet against dude, bruh.
No, you can't.
I'm going to roll with Crawford, and shout out to Nebraska, and that's just what it is.
I'm so glad you here, big dog.
I'm going to go ahead and put my bread down on Crawford, and I'm going to live with the results.
You were a DB, right?
I played wide receiver, kick return, punt return.
Oh, I thought. Why did I think you was a DB?
I don't know.
Even being a wide receiver, you fit the bill of a Terence Crawford. If Terence was a football player, he more than likely would be a DB or a wide receiver.
Yeah.
How much weight did you put on leaving high school going into college?
That is all for today's video. Stay tuned for more. Until next time.